Hey everyone, Hades20 back again with our good old media thread buddy. I have to record a lot of these in batch because we gotta catch up since we're almost out of the year. August just wrapped up, so thankfully I don't need to make the August list any longer. April looks like it was pretty busy for one big reason, which we'll get into as we go. So the first one on this month of April, well, on April of April, was the only one that I've ever forgotten to update on here. As you can see, the post was made on the 15th, but it was on the 7th, according to the achievements on Steam, that I finished this game. So it's called Holo Break, and it's a fan game made by Caillou and his team. I was like trying to think, do they have like a name, like a development team name, or are they just like Holocure Dev or whatever? But for context, there's a little game on Steam that's a little popular called Vampire Survivors, and Holocure is basically the Hololive version of that, where you play as the versions of where you play as all the talents, and they have like moves and stuff. It plays like Vampire Survivors but Hololive. There's a bunch of differences if you go into it, and I think they're both great games. But randomly, I don't know when, I forget exactly, this was announced, which is a beat 'em up, and same team and everything. And I gotta say, the one thing that stands out about it the most, aside from it just being a very fun beat 'em up, is it has one of the most, like one of the coolest pause screens I think I've ever seen. Like the pause screen in the game is incredibly, what's the word, interactive. Because when you hit pause, it opens up like a YouTube overlay to make it look like you're pausing a YouTube video. But like all the buttons work. Like you can move the volume slider, you can hit the resolution icon that like is on YouTube to full screen and window the video. You can even like it. I know it's like a little thing, but it's really impressive. Like that's a very impressive pause menu that they put in the game. Aside from that, it's just a very fun and enjoyable beat 'em up. I played through it a few times. I think it's funny because it launched and he did not include a save method in it because he didn't think people would need to save because it's generally a short game, which it is. For me though, I started playing it like I had to go like an hour before I had to get ready to go to work. So I was like, let me just pop in and see what it's like. So I did the first level, like, oh, that's cool. And then when I finished playing, I was like, well, I gotta get ready. I was like, is there a save? Does it auto save? So I just quit out, and then when I went back in, it was like start over. So I was like, oh, okay, there is no save. All right, I got it. Still was a lot of fun. I think it was like my third attempt overall that I was actually able to beat it. I've been meaning to want to get back to it just to play it for more fun, because it's nice, it's fun, it's enjoyable. It's like a little game focused on, I think it's Gen 5, Nepalabo, I forget which one they are, and Holo X is Gen 6. Yeah, it was really enjoyable. Just the Hololive, the culture that Hololive has surrounded itself with, or the way that they encourage people to do fan games is really cool, like legitimately very cool. And how they do it, like he got the actual members, the streamers, to record some voices for themselves and across the game. He's not the first to do that, but it was really cool just every time that happens, where they're able to actually get them to record some stuff, a few lines here and there, and it's nice. So yeah, it was just a fun little game. It was a good way to start the month. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not even that big of a beat 'em up guy. I don't really play beat 'em ups that often, but it was enjoyable, you know. And it was free. It's just both this and Holocure, which is crazy. The Holocure is free. It's insane. All right. Oh my gosh. Here's the fun one. Here's one of the fun ones. On April 24th. Wow, we skipped like the entire month. I think it's because I was playing this like the entire month basically, so I did nothing else. Actually, no. There's another reason. We'll get to that. On April 21st, I finished Atelier, Ryza 2, Lost Legends, and The Secret Fairy. Oh boy, man. Even just looking at this picture and thinking about this game makes me want to go to Steam and buy Ryza 3, like, right now. I played Ryza 1 last year, and here's Ryza 2. And this is really a good time to actually record this, because the next Atelier game was just announced at the Nintendo Indie Showcase Partner Confusion Direct thing they had. Atelier Umea, something like that. And it looks great, and I really want to play it. It comes out early next year. I think it said March of next year. but I haven't played Ryza 3 yet, and I really want to get to it. And man, Ryza 2. Every so often, you'll like. I hope that this would become more of a norm, and I don't know, maybe people who play more games have noticed it more than I do. But I love playing a sequel to a game that is just an improvement in every single way to the original game, like just across the board. That's what Ryza 2 was. I got into it, and immediately I was like, "Wow, this is great." And the more I played it, the more I was like, "This is better than the first one." And I loved the first one. I really enjoyed it. It was my first ever Atelier game, so it took some getting used to. And then they came into this one, it's like everything was revamped and just better. Like, just everything about the alchemy was great, just the combat was rebalanced and it was insane. There was one change they made to the combat where I was like, oh, I know why you did this. Because when the way that it worked in the first game was absurdly busted, and it made it almost impossible for you to lose. I can't remember what it was. But there was one thing in the combat system that they changed, which I was blatantly in my head. I was like, right, yeah, because that was kind of ridiculous back then. And I didn't mind it that it was nerfed because the combat is freaking insane. Like, I think what really gets me about both the Atelier games is how they're the ones that I played so far. They're so calm and enjoyable. The story is very at its own pace. It's really slow and smooth. And even though they have like the ultimate conflict that they do need to defeat is a problem, you know, in both games with the I forgot what the monsters are called. The big white, like, beetle-looking things that are coming to wipe out all life. Like, yeah, that sounds intense, but, like, it's so contained to the point that nobody knows that Ryza and friends saved the world at the end of the first game. Except for, like, the main characters and a few NPCs. And then in the second game, it's something similar to that. It's they're going off solving these ruins, these mysteries, and figuring what happened in the past out and how to solve it on their own. There's not like this big concerted effort. They're just really cozy. It's like an adventure. It feels, both games really feel like adventures, and I absolutely love the just how it all ended out. Yeah, I'm basically repeating everything I wrote there, but yeah. Gosh, there were 7 characters in this time around, which I think there was only 5 in the first one. And they added a bunch more, and I think another thing I like about it is that being a sequel that takes place years later, you get to come back with all the characters, and they've grown up. They have like new designs, everybody looks so cool, and everything like that. And like Tao, for instance, the nerd from the first game, he was tiny and he used a giant hammer. Now he's just grown, like he's super tall and he fights with 2 swords and he's just become a lot cooler. He's still a nerd though. And Lent looks great, Ryza looks great. Patricia, the newcomer, the new one you get early in the game, she's my favorite. Like, I absolutely loved her. And the funny thing is, it's so amusing to see the character, how they look, and like, oh, cute, you know, or like I like the design of them. They're really nice, cute looking characters. Then you get into battle and it's like they fight in a way that does not even really, it's just funny. It's funny to see Patricia and how nice she is, you know, and how sweet she is. And then in battle, she uses this long sword, and she's insanely acrobatic and deadly with it. It's like the kind of thing that doesn't come across at all as her character, but it's so entertaining. Like for a bunch of goofballs, which they can be when they're having fun and going on this adventure, they got some really sick moves in combat, and it's something that I've always enjoyed. So, like, it's just really fun to watch the spectacle of the fights. And then 3 days after I finished it, I got the last of the achievements in it, so I 100%ed it, and yeah, that was great. I think, yeah, this one was a lot easier to complete than the first one. Not that the first one was hard per se. It just took a little abuse of the system that I had to do with the first one. Because you needed I think it's a normal thing in the Atelier series, this flower called the Dunkelheit that you need to synthesize some things. That one only appears in one spot in Ryza 1, and it's like it's insanely rare. But I used a code to to get into Pocket World, or whatever they were called in the first game, that only has Dunkelheits in it. All the enemies in that world level 99, which I clearly wasn't at the end of Ryza 1, but still. I just did that to synthesize certain things. Overall, man, so much fun. It was adorable. It was really moving. The ending was very sweet. I think the only complaint I have about it is like the ending is very, very sudden when it happens. Because like the first one has a whole lead up to the final boss. The second one, I walked up to the end of the dungeon, and then there was a cutscene. The final boss came out, we fought him, we beat him, and then the game ended. And I was like, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, that was my bad. I should have been more prepared. I don't think I even had my team that I wanted in that fight. I could be wrong. I was just so taken aback when it just came out of nowhere. But it was enjoyable. I can blab about it forever. Just, man, Ryza is good. I cannot wait to play 3. I have some current games that I'm working on right now that I want to knock out and get out of the way before I jump into Ryza 3. That's like the next thing I really want to commit to. Yeah. I'm so excited to see what it's like. I guess here we go. April 24th also was when I started watching Invincible again. I enjoyed Invincible Season 1 a lot, and so much so that I went and read the entire comic, and I thought it was great. And there's a lot of stuff in the Invincible comic that I'm super looking forward to in the future, for when they get to it in the actual show. And man, so the Atom Eve special, I don't know if it's adapted from anything from the comics, I don't remember, because that was so long ago, but it was really good. Like, I really liked it, the look into her life and all that stuff. Just had man, the highway battle at the end of it was intense. Just like, they went ham on that, that's for sure. And then after that, same day, right, April 24th also. Yeah, I watched Invincible Season 2, and yeah, I had that day off, so I did all this. I did not intend to watch the entire season in one day, but I did. Like, and I think one of the main reasons why I like it so much is I like the comic a lot. So seeing all these scenes, episodes, and moments that I remember really liking in the comic being so faithfully adapted into the show just had me like, oh yeah, I remember this, and I remember this, and I remember this, and it's like, and I just really like they did a really good job, a much better job with the second season. Not that the first season was terrible. I'll say I'll say unpopular opinion, but I think it's the most like the general accepted opinion of Invincible is that Amber sucks. And yeah, I was not a fan of Amber, the show version of Amber versus the comic version of Amber. Say whatever you want about how underdeveloped the comic version of Amber is. I liked her. She was just a nice person, and then they just made her not that in the TV show. But the second season, I don't know what got up their ass about it, but they fixed her. Like, and not by making her like the same as the nice one in the comics, but just by toning down her more aggressive, unnecessary personality, making her just a touch more understanding. And it got to the point where at the end, when she was in danger and one of the last scenes that she's in, I was like, oh, like I actually felt bad, about what was happening to her. Which if she had been acting the same way she'd been in season 1, I would not have cared. So that was impressive. Like they did a good job. I forgot that the rest of his people, what are they called again? The Viltrumites were introduced this early, but it's building up to some crazy shit. There's some stuff that happens later in the comic that I'm like so looking forward to seeing. I know that it ended with Alan going in to break Invincible's dad out of the prison he's being held in. I'm just like, I can't wait for that next season. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, like the show takes a long time, and I get it. Like I get it. Like I don't know the full extent of what animation requires, but I can tell just by looking at it that it's not easy. I had that same reaction during the final episode of season 1 that I did with some of the fights and some of the scenes in season 2, where I was like, yeah, this clearly took them fucking forever. Paid off though. It looked great, and I'm excited for the next one for sure. And here we go. Okay, how long is this video gone? 14 minutes? Okay, this will probably make me take an hour. So what I was going to say is a big reason for that gap between April 7th and April 21st. Obviously, Ryza is one of them because it's a bigger RPG. So for all I know, maybe I started playing the game in March. I don't remember really. Bang Dream, though, was another huge reason. It was a huge thing as to what I was dedicating all of the end of the last half of the month to, as you can clearly see. Finished the second season of Bang Dream April 26th. It was like right before midnight, so the Discord post is on the 27th, but I finished watching it like a few minutes before, and I was just writing this up for it. Man, I think out of the continuity of Bang Dream for the first 3 seasons, and all the specials that came after in the movies, season 2 is still my favorite, like out of all of them. And it threw me off at first because we went from focusing solely on Poppin' Potty to all of a sudden there's like 5 other bands, and each band has 5 members, so the cast just exploded. And the weird thing is, you go into season 2 and Kasumi and the rest of Poppin' Potty are familiar with everyone. They know the members of Roselia by name, Hello Happy World, Afterglow, everybody. Like, they know them. They've already met and become acquainted between seasons 1 and 2. So it just kind of threw me off that I'm like trying to learn everyone and they already know. But I grew used to it, and now if I go back to it after having all this information in my head, I'll probably love the season even more. And it was already my favorite season. The only band they didn't know was Ryza, which were the ones that I was looking forward to seeing, since they were the ones that, like I said last time, I had the most experience with from seeing them perform with Suisei. And it still threw me off because I didn't recognize Locke, or Roka, Asahi Roka, when she first appeared and she was hanging out with everybody. It wasn't until she told them that her nickname was Rock that I was like, oh, she's one of the Ryza people. I could not recognize her at all. Because she actually wears her hair different. She doesn't wear her glasses when she performs as Locke. Oh man, it's such a confusing thing that her name is Roka, her childhood nickname is Rock, and then her Ryza stage name is Locke. They're very specific about that. Choo Choo even points it out when she first gives her the nickname. But it was good. It was fantastic. Season 2 was, in my opinion, the best season out of the original 3. And there was such feeling and emotion into it. And it's one of the reasons, the big payoff, the big drama for the season has to do with Ryza, Choo Choo forming that band. Oh, and of course, Poppin' Potty's trying to host their own live show, like their own personal self-funded show, just like Roselia did. Roselia does theirs really early in the season, and Kasumi's like, yeah, we'll do one too, even though they're completely not ready for it, and most of the season's trying to build up to it, which is great. And at the same time, Choo Choo's forming Ryza, and through events, it leads to her trying to keep Tai, the guitarist of Poppin' Potty, on Ryza, and it becomes this whole drama with what Tai wants to do in terms of going back to Poppin' Potty or staying in Ryza with Ray, her childhood friend, and the drama and how that pulls, and the conversations that Poppin' Potty has and the moments towards the end of the series is really good. It's really good. It's like, what, 13 episodes, and it builds so much emotion in such a small amount of time. But it pays off so well, and it paid off that hard because of season 1. So it's like I know, like I mentioned last time, that some people suggest skipping season 1 going into 2 and 3, and I firmly believe that no. After I saw season 2, I was like, especially after the rest of the show, it's like you need that foundation. You need it. It helps and makes everything hit harder and gives it more impact. So yeah, that was, oh man, just looking at them makes me so happy. Oh man. And then April 29th, 3 days later. Yeah, that's how attached to this shit I became. That it took me so long to watch season 1. It took me, I don't know, let's say like a week or 2 to watch season 2. I honestly don't remember. And then I watched season 3 in 3 days. Like the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Season 3. And man, yeah, I still think season 2 is the best, but I loved season 3 as well. I think that the crazy thing is, like, from go, I was like, okay, season 3 is awesome, because the opening song for season 3 is Initial by Poppin' Potty, and it's one of my favorite songs of theirs. Like, it became my favorite from like the first time I heard it in the opening animation, and it just consistently stayed that way. Like, every time I open up an episode, I was like, yeah, here we go with Initial playing. It's fantastic. I actually love too the animation style. I don't know if it's a hot take. I don't know if it's not a hot take. Like, I don't know what the opinion was from when they changed their animation from season 1 to everything else. Because season 1 is like standard animation. I don't know what to call it. I don't know the exact methods. But every season after that, with 3D animation for when they perform, but every season after that is 3D all the time. I think it's looked great, and I think it just looks better with every season, every special, every movie that they do. It looks incredible to get to the point where we get to the last one, where it's just jaw-dropping. Season 2 and 3 look excellent, and it's not portrayed any better by like the second you get into season 3 and you watch the initial opening music video and how it goes on from there. So I was just like, and the plot of season 3 has to do with the Bang Dream Girls Band Challenge contest, with all the bands performing to try to get points and win. What's funny is when I thought back on it, I don't even remember what the grand prize was. It wasn't until the end of the season when they were announcing who won the challenge, and they say the winner of the grand prize is so-and-so, and I was like, what was the grand prize again? I assume it was money, but I honestly don't remember if they ever said what it was, because I think more people were interested in the competition for what it would mean for the band and how they would improve the bands. Which the main focus for the season was on Poppin' Potty, Roselia, and Ryza Suilin once again. Because the whole thing is that they were forming. Choo Choo was forming Ryza Suilin, and that did not get finished at the end of season 2. Which I was surprised by how long it took Roka to actually join the group. But in season 3, the band Ryza Suilin comes together and they become a problem, quote unquote. Like they're really good at performing, which was a smart thing. I had so many discussions about this on the Reddit because I made posts talking about watching the show for the first time, and I talked to a lot of people. There's a guy who does like real-time stuff for the show. So like on a date, it would be like, today in Bang Dream this happened, and like all those posts are so interesting to read through. And he went through, when he was going through all the season 1 events and stuff, it just reminded me of how good season 1 actually was and why I wanted to watch it again, and all these other things. And it was really interesting because like Roselia and especially Ryza Suilin, they perform several times before you, the viewer, actually gets to see them perform, which I think is like, looking back on it, I remember being confused. I'm like, man, we're not seeing a single Ryza Suilin performance. All we're getting is how everyone in Universe talking about how great they were. And then the first time you actually get to see them perform, it's like, I get it now. Because you see how great they are, and they're pretty amazing. But yeah. Oh yeah, and also this season was the one that I realized my favorite character is Arisa. She's on top of the image there, the blonde. She's the keyboardist for Poppin' Potty, and she became my favorite character at some point. And I think I realized it during season 3, like, oh my god, she's my favorite. she's so good. She takes a charge for the group this season. Like, even though Kasumi, I guess you can technically count, is the leader. It was Arisa. She was the one who made their strategy and helped them succeed in the Bang Dream Challenge. And so I was like, man, this is so cool. I like her so much. Yeah, like, oh man, that was good. That was a good use of time. Oh yeah, I forgot that I mentioned that I cried in season 2. Yeah, I don't think I did in season 3. No, I didn't. I say it right here. But yeah, no, season 2 made me cry, which, you know, not ashamed to admit that. It was that good. The drama was heavy. It hit hard. So Metroid Prime is funny. So we're jumping from Bang Dream. There's one little thing to get to before we finish out the month. Metroid Prime should have been last month. I was playing through it, and I had hoped to finish it before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, and I got to the end. Like, I got to the part where I was missing, I think, like 2 or 3 more artifacts, something like that. I was like really close to the end, and then I started playing Rebirth, and I just didn't turn on Metroid Prime Remastered again until I beat Rebirth, until I watched all of Bang Dream. And then I came back and I was like, all right, let me finish this game. So I got the rest of the artifacts, did the Ridley boss fight, the Metroid Prime like 6-phase boss fight, and then credits rolled. It's like, okay, done. So I could have done that at any time. Granted, the Ridley boss fight, man, I think I was doing something wrong because that fight took forever. Like, it took so long. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely doing something wrong. But man, I think the craziest thing about playing Metroid Prime, I forget if I mentioned this, but the remake or the remaster was announced like right after I started playing Metroid Prime on Wii U, because I have the trilogy over there. And I just got thinking, do I want to get it for Switch and play that instead, or, you know, not? Or like, when did I get Metroid? Well, it's not August, my birthday. I didn't get it for my birthday. When did I get the game? Did I buy it myself? Because I don't know why someone would buy it for me. The only reason someone would buy it for me is if it was my birthday, which it wasn't. And if it was, if I did get it for my birthday in like 2023, that means that I held on to the game without playing it for like 6 months. I guess I just bought it. I honestly don't remember. Regardless, it was in my hands. I played the whole damn thing. Maybe I did get it for... No, Christmas. Yeah, I think I got it for Christmas. What took me so long? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, I forgot Ryza 2. I can't believe I played Ryza 2 instead of going back and finishing Metroid Prime. Okay. Yeah. I misspelled Talon 4. Oops. Great game. It really feels like the... Because before I played Metroid Dread, I went back and played all the 2D Metroid games, and I absolutely loved them. They were fantastic games. Super Metroid especially. Like, I absolutely understand why Super Metroid has stood the test of time and why people swear it's one of the best Super Nintendo games ever. Yeah, I agree. It's absolutely fantastic. Start to finish, it's an amazing game. I played it so many times. I got faster and better each time. I wouldn't mind playing it right now, booting it up and playing it again because it's that good. This feels like a 3D version of the games that I played, including getting me stuck and lost many times. Many times. I think the only downside to Metroid Prime, which is something that I'm sure is not... I don't know, I'm not saying it's a fault of the game, but it's the fact that the game is in 3D, so that the environments are bigger. It makes backtracking and going to other areas take a lot longer. Because like in the 2D Metroid games, the screens are generally smaller and movement feels faster for that reason. So you can get from where you want to go, from where you are to where you want to go really quick. You can zoom by those screens real fast. And I remember doing that a lot back in like Super Metroid when I was just zipping around picking stuff up in the end game. Not so much in this one. Like, getting around definitely felt a lot smaller. I remember opening the map being like, I gotta get over there. I gotta get over there. How do I get over there? And it's like, it's a maze and whatever, but it's still fun, still enjoyable. And after finishing it, I understand why people love Metroid Prime. Like that was the one thing. As I was playing the game, it became clearer and clearer why people like Metroid Prime so much. The only thing I will say is I think that the artifact hunting, I don't know. Something I may come back to later, but it's just, I don't know. Something about having that in the end game was a bit meh. So then again, that was mostly my fault because I guess not really. As a new player, I wouldn't be aware, but I assume you can pick up the artifacts at any time, technically, as long as you know that they're there. So, who knows, maybe it would be a lot shorter if you had got them while you were playing the game, instead of waiting to the end to try to have to go back and pick up a whole bunch of them up. Because I think I only got 2 or 3 during the course of the game that I just so happened to find, and then I needed to get the rest of them myself in the ending. Still very fun. Very fun game. And then the last thing. So all this on April 29th. I finished the 3rd season, and then I finished Metroid Prime, and then I watched the movie. Okay. Yes, I remember watching this super late. So yeah, the first Bang Dream movie film live. Which the Bang Dream movies, or at least this one and the other one, don't really have plots, so to say. This is just literally a concert. It's hour-long performance of all the bands at the time. You see there, Kasumi from Pop and Potty, Yukino from Roselia, I think Aya from Pastel Palettes, I think, Ran from Afterglow, and Kokoro from Hello Happy World. And it's all them performing. I think it's 4 songs for each band, and then 1 song with everybody together at the end. And I think every single band performs the short versions of all their songs and a full version of 1 song. And it all comes out to a little over an hour, I think. It's just entertaining to watch, because once again, like, the animation is really great, and the animation for performances is really great, since I believe it's all animated correctly. What the guitarists are doing with their fingers, the drummers, and so on. And it's really cool to watch. It's just cool to watch the animation of all the characters. Hey, watching Kokoro is a lot of fun, because they put a lot into her, how bouncy she is she just can't stand still. She's always like dancing like a maniac, doing backflips and cartwheels all the time. It's really funny. Yeah, so it was just entertaining. From what I understand, there is a difference between this and the next one, in that this one, I believe, just was the studio recordings of all the songs. So, like, if you listen to the song on Spotify, it's the same as what they played here. Which is cool, because you get at least from the performances here, you get a full animated performance for Firebird, one of Roselia's most popular songs, if not their most popular one. I'm not sure which one their most popular one is. Speaking of that, let me go back and talk about Season 2 for a bit. I still remember, because for Season 1, all you get is Poppin' Potty songs, and I think 1 or 2 songs from Glitter Green. But it's all Poppin' Potty. Roselia's in it for like some cameos, but you don't ever actually hear them perform until Season 2. And wow. I think the first time Roselia performs on screen, they do Black Shout, and it just blew my mind, because at that point I had gotten used to Poppin' Potty's genre of music and the music they play. Black Shout was just not that. It was not anything like that. It was not anything like the Glitter Green songs. It was intense. It was great. It was fantastic. And I was just like, what just happened after that performance? And I was like, I want to hear them perform again. And it's like, Roselia is great. They're really awesome to listen to. Firebird's insane. So yeah. Pretty sure I spend most of this video talking about Bang Dream, and I'm fine with that because it deserves it. Oh man, I can't remember the last time I was disinvested in an anime. Like I think I've said before, I know I've said before in like Let's Plays and just casual conversation, that Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is my favorite anime of all time. Gosh, I don't know if that's true anymore. Of course, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds by itself, and then it's like every season of Bang Dream. But we'll get to why that's such a hard decision next month. But for now, all I'll say is, I love Bang Dream. I really do. Like, all these characters, the music, like, it's so good. I have my Spotify open so I can look at it quickly. But someone shared with me a playlist made by, I think, the official Bushiroad team, which is just all the official songs of Bang Dream. The playlist is almost 600 songs long, 40 hours. And I've been listening to the whole thing, like bit by bit. Like, I would go into it, play it a few songs, and then my favorites I would add into a playlist of my own for just my favorites. And that playlist is currently up to 114 songs. So I haven't cut it down all that much. In addition, the entirety of Ryza Sweelin's Era album and Roselia's Wall album is in my liked songs, because from front to back, those albums are fantastic. I highly recommend listening to them. They're good. They're incredible. Yeah. So yeah, this part, as I expected, was a little longer than the others, simply because I had to talk about how much I love Bang Dream. Yeah. Worth it. Anyway, yeah, that's it for April. After this is May. Yeah, and I know a few things that happened in May, but not everything. So we'll see y'all next time. Until then, hasta.